Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading. And yes, those of you who've been around from the very early days of MadWorldTarot will recognize the old tarot cloth. The old tarot cloth has traveled with me to the mountains, to the hot springs. I didn't manage to pre-record readings as I was hoping to do. The energy just wasn't sitting right, if you can talk about energy sitting right. And so I packed the tarot cloth and the not so great mic and some tarot cards and thought, let's see what happens with the royals, whether there is anything interesting to read on. And lo and behold, Archewell has released its 2022 financial returns, its impact report, in fact. And things don't look good for Archewell. So that inspired me to get out of the hot tub just briefly with lovely mineral water in it and grab the Tarot of the Abyss and get the old tarot cloth out and have a look at what is going on. Now, it's very interesting. Much cleverer people than I have gone through the financials, and they have picked up some noticeable changes from 2021 to 2022. First of all, Archewell is now running at a loss of $670,000. Its expenses are up 60% on 2021, and its grants are down 50%. That's the grants that it makes to charitable causes. Remember, it's allegedly a charitable foundation. Its funding, its contributions are down $11 million on 2021. Remember, in 2021, there was that mystery donor who gave them $10 million. Some people speculate it was Oprah. Some people say it was the advance for Harry's book. Some people think it was Netflix. But whatever it was, $10 million in 2021 to make a total of 11 million in, or 13 million in, it's down to 2 million in 2022. So they've gone from 13 million to 2 million. They've gone down catastrophically. They are now spending 90% of their money on admin. That's expenses, salaries, independent contractors, those kinds of things. 10% only is going to charity. So people were saying, who've been looking at this crumbling foundation, people are saying it's basically been used by Harry and Meghan as a personal slush fund. It's not a charitable foundation. It's a tax dodge. Basically, this is the speculation that people have, having looked at these figures, and they speculate that Archewell will in fact collapse in due course. It's happened before. There've been famous political people who have had foundations that haven't lasted a distance, Clinton's, for instance. But we're going to have a look at this money situation with Archewell right now, with the Tarot of the Abyss. I'm going to do a Celtic cross. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see what the true situation is with Archewell, what might be big problems there, what might be at the root of this financial collapse, basically how 2022 went for Archewell. I mean, we've seen this slick movie that has just been produced to try and knock the Wales children off the charts, basically. But how has it been going? How will it be going this year? Because 2021 things were still good, remember. That was, the heyday of Archewell. That was the Netflix docu in their personal lives. Things were good still. The brand is toxic now in 2023. So we're going to ask those questions. We're also going to know what their view is of the foundation. Is it their personal sort of financial Oh, I can't think of a polite word to say, but let's call it slush fund. Let's say what people have been calling it around and about on social media. I could have said a much worse word. And let's remind you, as I put these cards out, that this is just tarot for fun and entertainment, or my opinion, or speculation. Just reading energy, and of course disclaimer in the box below. How am I doing? Not too badly. Funny lighting, sorry about that. Making the best do with the things that I can best do with. And so lighting not great. Second best microphone. Hopefully not second best tarot reader today. A refreshed tarot reader, I hope. Ten of Swords, underlying energy, that's the end. Ten of Swords doesn't get worse than Ten of Swords. It's death, it's finished, it's ruin, it's collapse. That card doesn't nearly tell the story of the Ten of Swords. It's far too cute, really. The Ten of Swords, normally in traditional Rider-Waite, has a man face down on the ground with 10 swords stabbed into his back. He is finished, he is done, he is dead. Archewell Foundation, underlying energy, finished, done, dead. Let's have a look at the central issue. What is the story we want to hear today? We've got the Queen of Wands in reverse. How interesting that the Queen of Wands should show up at the heart of this reading in reverse. And we know who the Queen of Wands is. That would be Megan, the fire sign woman. She's in reverse. Her brand is toxic. Her brand is in reverse. And I should imagine also she's having a bit of a meltdown right now. Very humiliating. Having to release these figures, this impact report, having to try and cover it up with that video production to show her hugging people and grinning and marching in front of the marching band. Metaphorically, I don't think they showed that. I couldn't bear to watch. I watched a little bit and then I had to basically peep through my fingers as I was watching it, and then I collapsed and lost the will to live briefly. So there she is, our Queen of Wands in reverse. And recipient commentators on social media have noted that it's only Megan's charities that are mentioned in Archewell. It's not Invictus, it's not the Well Child thing, it's not the what's that soldiers thing that Harry does for the children. It's interesting that it seems to be a separation of business and it's her stuff going on. Also other interesting comments about who lives where in there, that in those comments that we'll be looking at in the next 2 days. Depending on what happens. What is the real problem? What's the crossing energy? The Hanged One in reverse. That is martyrdom card, sacrifice card, being hung out to dry card, and getting fed up with it and deciding I don't want to do that anymore. Someone has walked away from it. And I suspect we know who that someone is. The crossing card is crossing the Queen of Wands, so who else would cross the Queen of Wands but has been? The victim, the person who's been dangling there for a long time having a think, and has now had his think perhaps and decided to separate himself from this fiasco. It's a farce. Archewell is an absolute farce. It hasn't done any good. It's tacked on to other things, exploited other situations, genuine charities. It's never come up with any initiative that is a genuine initiative of its own. Harry himself does have things that are his, that have been his for a long time. But Archewell, what has Archewell accomplished? Absolutely nothing. And that is not just my opinion, but many people's opinions. How about what's going on behind the scenes? What is the root of this collapse, this financial collapse? This lack of money coming in, basically. Eight of Cups in reverse is because the focus is on grievances. Ace of Cups is about leaving your grievances behind you and going off and doing something more positive. Walking away from your sorrows. They can't let go of their sorrows. They keep gnawing away at the stumps wherever something has been sawed off, body part. They're gnawing away at the stumps instead of thinking, oh well, I can get some help, and I can walk with the aid of whatever, crutches or I don't know what, but I can move on. They can't move on, and it's boring, it's annoying, it looks weak. It sends out a very negative and toxic message to people. You're a charitable foundation, and the people at the heart of the foundation harp on about their petty grievances. It really doesn't look good. Who wants to give money
to an organization that revolves around that level of toxicity and self-pity. The hanged one can represent self-pity. And the sense of self-pity is, it needs to stop. So what's the focus right now, now that this terrible news has been revealed to the world? Three of Cups. It's a Three of Cups in reverse. I think it's in reverse. It's one of those moments, and I have them every now and then when I pull a card up off the table and I forget which way round it came. It's fine that way. Three of Cups in reverse. There's nothing to celebrate, first of all. So this is embarrassing. Having to release these figures, knowing that people are going to go through them and point out all the weaknesses in the numbers and how nothing stacks up and how this foundation is on its last legs, Ten of Swords. But also there might be some falling out of friends, because interesting in the figures, organizations, Beth Hurley's organization, the girlie that we see often around with Harry, she was there at the polo in Singapore, and a lot of speculation around her. I do think she's married, Beth Hurley. And Genevieve Roth, her organization also, and we see her hanging around Meghan a lot. She was at that farcical event at the United Nations when Has-Been made that speech, Nelson Mandela, on Mandela Day at the UN. Nobody was there. The people that were there were yawning, looking at their phones, getting up and walking out halfway through. Has-Been had a huge scowl on his face. But they've done very well out of this organization. They might not be doing so well in future. And the other person who's done startlingly well is James Holt, who came with them from the UK. And his salary went up by a shocking amount. It went up from, did I write it down? It went up from something like $59,000 to $249,000 from 2021 to 2022. Something like that. I could be misquoting, but if I am misquoting, it's not by much. So James Holt has done very well out of this whole thing. But with Three of Cups in reverse, it's friends falling out. It could be that you've taken advantage of us enough. You've been on the gravy train with us for long enough, and now we're going to throw you off the gravy train. Tell us about that year 2022, how they were doing. Two of Cups, well, they were still an item. They were still a brand. They still looked like they were, I knocked the camera, sorry about that. As I say, things are a little bit precarious here today. And they were still looking like they were oh so in love. And the Netflix documentary was being made, and it was all wonderful. So they were still together. Their brand was still together. The brand has separated this year. Last year, it was very much the Harry and Meghan show. How is it going this year? And I'm sorry about that. I had to stop and have a little cough. I want to know how things are going this year. This year, 2023, is relatively the future as far as that impact report is concerned, because that report covered 2022. So how are things going now? We have the Hermit, and I keep knocking the table. Let's try not to do that. The Hermit is Harry. The Hermit is separating, is going your own way. What was I saying? Two of Cups, they were together in 2022. Brands have separated in 2023. And Harry is, of course, focusing very much on the things that he had while he was still a working royal, the military-related charities that he was involved with, and of course Centre Bali as well. And so he's gone back to those. That's why I think the Hermit is showing up. He's separated from Meghan. He's gone his own way. He no longer cares about what's going on with Archewell, Hanged Man in reverse. He's left. He's no longer tied to that failing organization, and it's hers now to trash and ruin. I think that's what the Hermit is all about. And the Hermit is, of course, also about advice, about finding your true north, your purpose and your meaning in life, soul searching, all of that kind of stuff. A lot of that going on with our Hermit, I suspect, not with Meghan. That's with Harry. Let's have a look at how they view the foundation, them together. How do they view it? And we have the Four of Swords in reverse. This is something that they would like to bury. Four of Swords.
but they can't. It's similar energy to the Eight of Cups in reverse. It's something you should really let it die. You should let it go, grieve it, go away, put it to rest. But they can't. It's got to be taken out every now and then. It's a bit like, you know, those cultures that bring out the dead, and dress them again and tend them and then put them back in the ground. It has that kind. No, sorry, that was a bit gruesome, but and I need my Santa Muerte tarot for that. They do it, I know, in Madagascar as well, a bit closer to me here. But Four of Swords in reverse tells me that something that they're just flogging, it's dead, but they can't let it just go. They know it, but they have to, because they don't have anything else. And every time the Wales family does something, like the children volunteering and sorting out presents and folding clothes and being lovely, happy, normal children, then Archewell has to be dredged up. And look, see here, we're doing things. Pressure that they are under. I'm keeping them together in this reading. Three of Pentacles, they have to find people to collaborate with. Who still wants to be in association with Archewell? Anyone? There was the kitchens thing. They've piggybacked on quite a few. I lost track of them at some stage. But they have to find people to go into partnerships with, to collaborate with, because they themselves don't have anything. They haven't come up with anything. They've had plenty of time. They've had excellent advisors, or they've had access to excellent advisors, but they just haven't, I don't think, worked hard enough to make this happen. I think that they thought that it was money for nothing, and it's not money for nothing. A foundation like this, if you treat it as money for nothing, will collapse. And here we have Ten of Swords. So the hopes and fears for the foundation right now. What is going on? Two of Swords in reverse. They're worried that they're going to have to make a very difficult decision to actually do a mercy killing on this organization, this foundation, and finish it off. Two of Swords in reverse. Time has come. You've dithered enough. You've put it off enough. You've hoped long enough that something would miraculously happen to save you. It hasn't. And they worry that they're going to get to the stage where they are going to have to kill it off, along possibly with some other things that they have kept dragging along, like a marriage for long enough, the illusion of a marriage that they're going to have to kill off at some stage as well. My opinion, of course. Let's see the outcome for Archewell. Is it the death knell for this charitable foundation, or is it going to suddenly resurrect itself and do brilliantly? Three of Wands in reverse. It's done. It's over. It's not a tower or something like that. I was secretly hoping for a spectacular card. But the Three of Wands in reverse is good enough. Especially when your underlying energy is the Ten of Swords. It confirms the Ten of Swords. It says that there is not going to be any future growth, any expansion, no more collaborations with people. They are going to give up on it. Because the Three of Wands is optimism, expectation, hope. Things expanding and growing, waiting for things to get better, or your ships to come in reverse. No ships sank, ships, pirates, whatever, no ships, and you give up waiting and you go home. And so we have every indication in this reading that Archewell is on its last legs, and that at some stage they will have to give up, and it's going to be humiliating. That might cost them some friendships. Three of Cups over there. The interesting energy in this reading is that it's because of their hanging on to their grievances and their sense of injury and woe, but really it's because Harry has checked out. Whoops, knocked it again. Stop knocking the tarot table. He's checked out, and that's why this thing is over. It's finished. She on her own can't carry this. He's gone back to his old ways, his old safe places, and Archewell finished. Poor Archie. Charitable foundation named after the innocent little thing, and it looks like it is done. That's your reading. Thanks for watching. Hope it wasn't too much of a rocky tarot table, and I'll see you on the next one.